What to do when a tenant doesn't pay rent in Washington state. My name is Paul Van Balen from SunWorld Property Management. We help landlords in Southwest Washington, the Vancouver, Longview, Olympia area for challenges like this to keep your rental property running smoothly. Number one, before you give a notice, you want to confirm when rent is officially late, according to your lease agreement. Most leases, rent is due on the 1st, but in Washington, it's very important that you follow the rent guidelines. You have to allow 5 days. So really, the rent is not officially late till after the 6th. That is very important. Also, if you have tenants that receive federal money and their rent isn't, or the funds don't come until like the 8th or 9th of the month, something like that, the rent wouldn't be considered late till after that period. And if the grace period ends on a weekend, normally you give the next business day. So if it's a Saturday or Sunday that the 14-day pay or vacate in Washington was issued, you need to allow that it doesn't end on the weekend. Give them the next business day to pay the rent. Sometimes tenants slip and they forget to mail the rent. So what we suggest is, if it's the first time, so the first time the tenant was late, is to send a quick text, email, phone call, just to confirm it. Sometimes that usually settles the problem and they pay their rent that day or immediately the next day. I would suggest, if it's an ongoing problem and they're late every month, instead of having to chase them for the rent, what you want to do is send a 14-day pay or vacate, which is a formal notice that the rent is officially late. Now, you have to follow specific guidelines, and it has to have specific language in the 14-day notice. You can't just deliver a 14-day notice to pay or vacate. If it doesn't have specific language in it, the eviction, if you got to that point where you had to file an eviction, could get thrown out. Also, in the state of Washington, you have to allow 5 extra days if you do not get personal service on the tenant. So what this means is, you prepare the 14-day notice, you go to deliver the 14-day notice, tenant's not home. You then have to post the notice on the door. Also, if, let's say, one of the tenants is home, and let's say there's 3 tenants on the lease, you can give all 3 notices to the one tenant, but the 2 people that you didn't get service on, you are going to need to send the 14-day notice to pay or vacate. Also, when you give the notice, you need to make 1 extra notice for all other occupants. Now, once the time expires, now you have no choice generally but to file the eviction. Now, at this point that you're getting ready to file an eviction and it's very stressful, a property manager can help prevent evictions by thorough screening, enforcing lease terms, and handling rent collections, so you're not stuck chasing payments. And if you feel we can help you out, get in touch with us today here at the SunWorld Group. Now, if you're going to move forward with the eviction, one of the things you might consider, because evictions now in the courts could take sometimes months, tenants can request a jury trial. There's a lot of different pitfalls in filing an eviction. It's not just file the eviction, go to court, and you get your writ, and then so many days later the tenant has to leave, or the sheriff comes and makes them move out. You can do cash for keys, and you could offer a certain amount of dollars to move out. Now, I will recommend, don't give any money until the house is vacant. So you show up, let's say you offer X number of dollars to move out. You tell them they have to be moved out. You show up with either a locksmith or the new set of locks and a letter saying that if you come back on the property, you're trespassing. That would be one quick way to get rid of the problem. Otherwise, if they dug their heels in, what you're going to have to do is file the eviction. Also, I would suggest when you get into this situation with an eviction, stop all communication with the tenant. I've seen more evictions go wrong when the tenant starts texting you, and then it could raise doubt if you're trying to make some deal or giving the tenant more time to pay rent, and then you would go file the eviction, and then you lose because it looks like you were going to give the tenant more time or something that was going to happen to that extent. So cut off all communication at that point. If you do have a co-signer, on that particular property, let the co-signer know you're filing an eviction. And we suggest that you work with an attorney. Don't try to do the eviction yourself. It could be costly. And the other problem with that is if your eviction gets thrown out and your tenant qualified for a free attorney and they have an attorney, they're going to ask for attorney's fees. So you need to be very careful navigating this process. So in summary, by following the correct process, you could protect your property and regain control of your rental unit. Remember, this video is a general overview for educating purposes only and does not reflect the specific conditions or laws at the time you're watching this video. It is not a substitute for legal advice. Always consult a licensed attorney to ensure compliance. If you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more landlord tips. And then, have you dealt with a non-paying tenant before? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching.